Hello there! In this video, we will walk you through the entire system of challenge participation in Enigma. Most of the process introduced in this video makes sense only for those who have already signed up for a Challenger account, so if you haven't created your own, please follow our instruction in another video. If you are not ready for creating your own Challenger account in Enigma but is still interested in seeing how a language learning challenge looks like, you can experience a demo challenge on the Enigma homepage, which will guide you through parts of the process. We will cover this part later in this video. But to have a complete overview, let's assume that you already have a verified Challenger account, and first thing to do is simply to sign in. After signing in, you will be directed to user homepage where you can see a dashboard with different types of information explained in our video introducing the Challenger system. Here we only focus on challenge participation of the system. For now, you should see Let's Solve Some Puzzles in the ongoing challenges block, assuming that you are not participating in any challenge. To find some challenges to have fun with, you can just click the Explore button on the ongoing challenge block, and you will be directed to the Explore page where active challenges are presented. You can also use the menu to navigate yourself to the same page by clicking the Explore entry in the menu. On this page, you will see three sections. In the Do It Now section, you'll see challenges that you have never completed before. More importantly, the information of these challenges will be presented in your mother tongue or second language based on the information you provided during the registration process. So you should be able to understand the descriptions and instructions of the challenge. The Do It Again section includes challenges you have previously completed or terminated halfway through. You can go over the challenges again, but the results will not be accessible to the experimenters. It's just for fun and will still contribute to your ranking in Enigma. The Probably Not section shows challenges that do not contain the information presented in your mother tongue or second language, although it should at least contain information in English as required by the Enigma guidelines. Accordingly, there's a chance that you might not fully understand the information and instructions of the challenge before your participation. If the information is unclear or not comprehensible to you, please think twice before participating so you don't waste your precious time on challenges of this category. For each challenge, you will see some critical information, such as the title of the challenge. You can also know how much time you may need to complete all challenge sessions from estimated length. Note that sometimes you may probably see a lengthy challenge like 3 hours or 5 hours. Don't be scared to wait immediately. It might be the case that there are multiple short sessions in this challenge, which could be done across different days. It is just very unlikely that you will have to stare at the screen for a couple of hours. If a challenge explicitly asks you to do so, make sure that the design is well justified and comes with a valid information of research ethics approval. Then you will see the recruiting information for Do It Now and Probably Not challenges. If it is yes, it means your participation data in these challenges will be shared with the experimenters and may be used in their language learning research. If it is no, it means the experimenters have done collecting their research data, and your data will only be recorded for your own reference. In addition, when it is no, you definitely will not receive any compensation for your participation from the experimenters. But hey, sometimes you can learn even more with just self-exploration. The recruiting information is not presented for Do It Again challenges, since whether the experimenters are done or not, your participation will not be recruited for their research use. Now, if you have decided which challenge to participate in, just click the Let's Go button to dive into a language learning challenge. If there's any specific challenge you want to participate in, but there are just too many challenges on this page, You can ask the experimenters to share the challenge code with you, and you can click on the Enter Code button to enter the code to go straight to that challenge. At the beginning of your challenge session, you will see lots of information provided by experimenters, including the same title of challenge and the same total estimated length of the challenge. In addition, you will also see Experiment Info Language, which allows you to choose the language available for presenting the key information in this challenge. You can switch to a language that you speak more fluently so you can understand the key information even better. The below information comes the general introduction to the challenge, in which the experimenters should let you know what to expect and do in this challenge. After reading the introduction, you should see the information about the researcher who designed the challenge and the contact information. Then, we encourage you to go through some extremely important information. First of all, you should read the consent form provided by the experimenters, since it includes the design and the description of the research approved by a committee reviewing research ethics. Participating in the challenge means you agree to everything in it. So make sure that you don't see anything unreasonable. Contact the researchers with the email address presented above, or let us know if you find anything worrying. Next, if the challenge is still recruiting challengers, you can check the compensation offered by the experimenters and whether you're eligible for receiving the compensation. Again, don't feel disappointed if you find there's no compensation or you're not eligible. The best compensation would be knowing you're contributing to language research. Of course, we know it's even better if you can have something in return for your participation. Finally, if you still have questions about how your participation data will be stored and used in Enigma, as well as your rights and responsibility, which you've agreed to when you signed up for your account, you can once again review the terms and conditions here. Next, Enigma helps the experimenters to highlight the importance of the age threshold. While we always trust that you register your Challenger account with genuine personal information, we still need to once confirm that you indeed passed the age threshold set by the experimenters to protect your right. In this demo, the challenge is designed for adults aged at least 20 years old, and your participation confirms that it is true. So, when you click on Continue, it means that you fully understand the consent form, match the age criterion, and thus agree to participate in the current challenge. But wait, we have not explained the function of the Quit Challenge button on the top left corner, which allows you to terminate your participation in a challenge at any time in a session. It is particularly important for you when you don't think a challenge is designed properly or when the information provided by the experimenters is incomplete or false. You can just close the browser tab or to terminate your participation as well, which is something we will demonstrate below. Now that you're fully aware of everything on the very first bit of participating in the challenge, just click on the Continue button to move on. On the next page, you will see a prompt to remind you to put on your headphone or earphone, if you have one. For challenges that do not involve in any sound or video files, putting on your headphone or earphone will still help you concentrate on the challenge itself, which matters for language learning research. If sound or video files are used, wearing your headphone or earphone can help you perceive the sounds more clearly, which matters even more for language learning research. If you participate in a challenge without using any sound file, you can simply click on Continue, and you can move to the next step. However, if a challenge includes sound files, you will see something extra. First of all, you will see a Play Sample button, which you can use to adjust the volume of the sound files to a comfortable level. Second, When you click on the Continue button, Enigma will preload every single multimedia file to your device, so you will not experience any lag in the sound files during your participation. It is thus important to remind you that if you're connected to Enigma via a mobile network, make sure that your mobile device plan allows you to download a large amount of data from the internet. We certainly don't hope your participation in Enigma affects your use of your mobile service. When the multimedia files are fully loaded, you'll be automatically directed to the next page. But if the loading process got stuck, you can click on the Reload button to try it again. Note that the multimedia files are hosted by experimenters rather than reviewed and hosted by Enigma. So if you find any multimedia content conveying violent or sexual information, please inform our administrators immediately. Enigma will review the challenge to protect your rights once we confirm it is an unqualified challenge on Enigma. After you have your headphone or earphone ready and all the multimedia files are loaded successfully, Enigma will bring you to the instruction page. On the instruction page, you will see a detailed explanation of what you need to do in a training session or a test session. Please read these instructions carefully and make sure that you understand what you will have to do before moving on. When you're ready, you can click Start Experiment to officially begin your challenge. This also means that if you choose to quit a challenge after this point, either by clicking the Quit Challenge button or by closing the browser tab, Enigma will mark your participation in this challenge as complete. This process is meant to prevent challengers to try a challenge multiple times before really completing it, so experimenters can collect genuine language learning data. However, if you quit a challenge before you press Start Experiment, your participation won't be recorded and labeled as complete in Enigma, and you can still come back later to do the challenge and contribute your data once again. Once the challenge begins officially, you'll go through various stages. As long as you complete a challenge, you'll be directed to another page showing the results of your participation. And you will see useful information like test accuracy rate, average reaction time, average correct reaction time, debriefing, and new achievements. Test accuracy rate shows the percentage of your correct responses in the test phase. Average reaction time illustrates the average reaction time in milliseconds of your responses to each stimulus in the test session. Average correct reaction time means the average reaction time in milliseconds for you to respond correctly in the test phase. In the above three columns, you also see experiment average percentage below each of your numbers, which shows the average of all other challenges in the test phase and this challenge for you to make a comparison. Crucially, if this is your first participation in this challenge, you'll receive a verification code on this page. Experimenters may ask you for this verification code to verify your participation in this challenge. Below a verification code are the buttons for you to share your results to your Facebook and Twitter. Not only can you show off a little bit to your friends, you're going to also help experimenters recruit more challengers. In the debriefing section, the detailed information about experimental design and goals provided by experimenters will be presented to you. To help experimenters complete their scientific research and allow each challenger to obtain the most accurate results in their challenge, please avoid sharing the debriefing information with anyone else. If the challenge you participated in requires you to complete multiple rounds, then the debriefing information will only be presented after you complete the last round. Again, if you find the debriefing information incomplete, Please contact Enigma administrators as well as the experimenters to protect your own rights. In the New Achievements section at the end of this page, you might see the milestones you have achieved after completing this session. Don't be too sad if you see nothing. Just keep trying. You can always check this result page once again for each session you have completed on the history page of your Challenger account. On this page, you can also get the verification code and see the average reaction time of your correct responses. And if you need to check the result page, just click on the View button. As explained in our another video, you can also remove your participation data at any time by clicking on the Remove button. But again, we hope you can keep your data with us unless the challenge is not designed properly or does not provide enough information. Enigma provides different kinds of challenges. Some challenges only require you to go through them once, while some may ask you to complete multiple rounds. And the procedure for taking on the two types of challenges are slightly different. First of all, in a multi-round challenge, whenever you complete one round, you should see the same result page introduced previously in this video. However, you won't get the debriefing information until you complete the last round in the challenge. This is because the purpose of the challenge should not be disclosed to you before the challenge is completely done, which is adopted as the standard procedure most of the time. And if you have not completed the last round of a challenge, you will see the title of this ongoing challenge in the ongoing challenge section in your dashboard. The date of the last completed session and the session number as well as the time you need to wait before you can move to the next round. Before it's time for the next round, in the ongoing challenge section, you can see the End Challenge button for you to terminate the multi-round challenge at any time. But you won't give up easily, will you? We highly encourage you to complete every challenge to contribute as many learning insights as possible. It's also important to note that before you complete or quit the ongoing challenge, you won't be able to explore other challenges. When it is ready for your next round, Enigma will also send an email to you to let you know it's about time to come back and complete your challenge. After you log back into Enigma, you will see the Continue button and the Ongoing Challenge section in your dashboard. And that's a sign for you to continue to the unfinished journey. Suppose that you have completed multiple rounds in the challenge. You will also see the record for each round of your participation on the history page. As usual, you can review your performance in each round by clicking on the Review button or remove a record by clicking on the Remove button. If you remove the record of any one of the rounds you have participated in, you will automatically withdraw from the challenge, and all your participated data will not be shared with the experimenters. You can still see other individual records that you have not removed just yet, but they are now just for your reference. Once again, please try not to withdraw your participation from a challenge for no specific reason, because your data really matters to your language learning research. The demonstration so far talks about the case in which everything goes well, but in some special occasions, your participation might terminate right after the training session. In a training session, experimenters might incorporate some tests to make sure that you really concentrate on the input stimuli, and they might also set up an accuracy threshold for this stage. It means you have to pass this threshold to move on to the test session. If you fail to pass the threshold, your participation will be terminated immediately after the end of the training session. You will be given your accuracy rate, and if this is your first participation in this challenge, you will be provided with a verification code as well, but you would have no choice but to click on the End Challenge button to end this participation. On the history page, then, you will also see the record of your failing to reach an accuracy threshold in an orange color. Since there is no record of your participation in the test phase, you won't see the view button for this record. In some other special occasions, you might not see the result page after completing the test phase. For example, if you're required to give responses in either phase, but you fail to respond in too many trials, it suggests that you might not pay sufficient attention to the challenge process itself. In this case, you will only see a page showing your response rate as well as a message, response rate under 50% in the test session, upon completing a test phase. Alternatively, if you respond extremely fast, really fast, it suggests that you might simply respond to each trial randomly and you don't take on the challenge seriously. In this case, you will see a page showing your average reaction time and a message, you responded too quickly on average. In either case, you won't see your performance and you won't be given a verification code. You can only click on End Challenge to end the challenge. These checks are designed to help experimenters exclude unreal language learning data from their research, so they can report genuine scientific findings. If you have these behaviors, you will see the special notes at the bottom in your Challenger dashboard in red blocks to show these records. If you have these records, you might be further excluded from challenges you have not participated in just yet. Thus, it is important to be a responsible challenger in Enigma as well. On your history page, you will see these participation records in an orange color. You can still remove these participation records if you want, but doing this won't remove the records of your potentially abnormal behaviors associated with your Challenger account. Now, let's walk through a special situation if you quit a challenge halfway through by simply closing your browser or browser tab. Suppose that you have safety or ethical concerns over a challenge, or you just don't want to finish it. As noted earlier, once you go past an instruction page, a challenge session begins officially. If you choose to quit the challenge afterwards, your participation is considered complete as well. If you simply close your browser or browser tab, next time you log back into Enigma, you will see the title of the challenge you participate in before you quit, as well as a message, "The previous session was interrupted abnormally," in the ongoing challenge block in your dashboard. In this case, you have no choice but click on the End Challenge button to clean your challenge participation record. If you don't clean up your old participation record, you will find yourself unable to explore another challenge by clicking on the Explore item in the menu, as Enigma will tell you that you still have an ongoing challenge. Alright, there you have it. This video is about every situation and the information you should know when participating in challenges in Enigma. If there is anything unclear, feel free to let us know or contact the experimenters of the challenge. Bon voyage!